You, me, he, she, we are all now victim to pre-processed thought. Now, what the fuck does that mean? It means that the most glaring issue is not that AI will take over the world and replace us or whatever. The biggest problem actually lies in the media and its influence in manipulating our human ability to think critically. But in order to explain this, I have to lay some groundwork. I mean, first of all, as humans, we all have to agree that our unique ability to think critically, to such an expansive extent, of course, is what has allowed us to evolve to such a high degree, pushed us above all these other species, right? Without critical thinking, there is no innovation, no meaningful human evolution. Now, obviously, the AI that we have around us is not really true AI in the sense that, these chatbots are only really language learning algorithms and models, and they have no true way to think in the same way that humans can. Again, this could change, but the point is that asking a language learning model to answer a question about your homework or spoon feed you information from the web, though it's concerning in its own respect, is not really a ginormous problem. And again, you always have those kids in university who will, they will cheat with any material that's given to them. And, to think that, if AI was stripped away that they would actually sit down and learn is just ridiculous. I mean, no, I can't use ChatGPT. I guess I'll just have to learn the material. They got us. The more glaring issue stems from the fact that we as humans mentally develop and evolve by critically analyzing our surroundings, right? And forming our own moral rule sets and identities based on exploring those surroundings. Even more importantly is that, after we've established a strong sense of self, a strong sense of identity, we use those same critical thinking and analysis methods to process the information around us, to form opinions, and to act in day-to-day life. And there's a key word here, environment. If our environments are not varied or based in facts or logic, we have no real way of properly analyzing the world around us. And this is where the biggest problem shows itself. You see, when the most accessible methods of exposing our minds to the world around us are things like social media or, big media corporations themselves, our ability to critically think deteriorates, right? Most of the information handed out through platforms like Instagram and TikTok are, at least to some extent, factually incorrect, right? And big privately run media conglomerates, which is, the easiest alternative, will always feed their viewers easy to digest content that will keep their majority demographic watching, right? This means that in the context of private media, they have to tailor the information handed out to the people that are watching the content that they're producing. And in order to keep them watching, you have to elicit strong emotions from your viewership. You have to keep them hooked. Do you notice the pattern? If you don't, it's that every single most accessible way of gathering information does not have the consumer in mind, and most definitely does not feed viewers information in a way that allows them to correctly analyze their surroundings and make calculated decisions, opinions, act on real world events in their environments. Instead, these social media platforms and media corporations will feed you information that is specifically designed to hook you in order to generate more revenue for them. By doing the thinking for the viewer and spitting out this thought as if it was pure fact, an average viewer becomes unable to think in a way that would broaden his or her understanding of the world. In this way, we have become so enveloped in these little bubbles of thought that we have collectively stopped thinking. Social media makes it so easy for someone heavily influenced and involved in one particular demographic thought bubble, if you will, to spit out one train of thought to you through the screen, and it will be implied as fact, even though it is not. And this is apparent for almost anyone that has fallen into one train of thought and will often spew opinions and words that are the same, right? They all have the same thing to say, the same words to say, and the same opinions, which we can all agree is more hive mind behavior in essence than behavior found within a group of critical thinkers. The truth is that the more that your speech becomes identical and radicalized with respect to a certain demographic within society, the less your mind is challenged to think critically. And this is undoubtedly a product of the media and its foothold in your social media feeds, which again are designed to tempt you to stop thinking and instead accept one, a certain truth delivered to you completely reasoned out, and also, therefore, two, to also accept a certain baseline way of thinking, which is homogenous with one of the many heavily divided groups within society. And again, with these social media platforms and the people on those platforms and these big media corporations, it's more than likely that that is the main source of information. Because looking through Google has, at this point, in this day and age, I know it's kind of insane to say, it becomes hard. And it's not like these corporations are, Google itself has been making that easier for us. I mean, more and more we see more ads for links when you search something rather than actual peer-reviewed documents or articles or something that might actually help you intellectually. But even Google itself is trying to sell you a product. But the point is that even though that is still relatively easy, it's still considered a pain in comparison to what's available, right? These social media companies, these social media, platforms, obviously, and these big media corporations, right? Watching your Channel 5 news, watching Fox News, watching whatever else you guys have in Europe. It's the same thing, right? And again, I am by no means a communist or socialist. I just want to make that clear. But this is by far the greatest weakness of a privatized media. And not to cover my ass or anything, I also believe this, truly, that there's no real way that state-run media could be a better alternative. There's just no way. But that's a subject for another video. And really what I'd like to end this video with is first by saying that whenever you agree or are emotionally riled up by something on the news or something that's being displayed to you by your social media app or whatever platform you use, take a step back and understand that these corporations want you to see this, right? They want you to be kept interacting with posts like that because the more divided their viewers are, the more money they make, right? It's as simple as that. And again, secondly, I'd really like to end with a quote by John Stuart Mill, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with, right? And it is pretty simple, right? It's that he who only knows his own side of the case knows little of that. His reasons may be good, and no one may have been able to refute them. But if he is equally unable to refute the reasons on the opposite side, he has no ground for preferring either opinion. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that. Hopefully broaden somebody's perspective to some extent. So, see ya.